Chris, I'm ready to start whenever you are. Okay, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to, of course, thank you all for coming. Apologize for the technical issues. We're running a little bit late, but you know how fanatical I get about time. So I am really, really sorry about that. And I think all of my technical issues are done for the morning. Fingers crossed. And as soon as Chris tells us that we are able to get onto the live stream, then we'll start our meeting, which is, as always, substantive, but only one presentation today. So we may get through that quickly and we'll get started. Chris, let us know when you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay, we're ready, Chris.
Okay, we're good to go. We're streaming, so all set.
Oh, awesome. Good. That happened quickly. Good morning, everyone. Happy to see everyone, and happy November. The year is going quite quickly. We'll start today's meeting with roll call, and we'll start with Community Board 1. As we move along, just please unmute yourself and then let us know that you're here as I call your community board. We'll start with Community Board 1.
Anna Rojas, Bronx Community Board 1.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Community
Good
Board.
morning to you too, madam.
Good morning. Happy to see you. Well, I don't see you, but happy that you're on. Community Board 2.
Good morning, Madam Deputy. Ralph Acevedo, Bronx Community Board 2.
Thank you. Community Board 3.
Good morning, Etta Ritter, Bronx Community Board 3.
Awesome. Good to see you. Community Board 4.
Good morning, Madam Deputy. Paul Phillips, District Manager, Community Board 4.
Okay, good morning. And Community Board 5.
Good morning, Madam Deputy President, and good morning, everyone. This is Ken Brown, District Manager, Board 5.
Thank you. Community Board 6.
Madam Deputy, good morning. This is Dr. Bola, Board 5 too, please. I just joined.
Thank you. Community Board 7.
Hello, Madam Deputy. This is Emmanuel, Chair CB7.
Good morning. Community Board 8.
Good morning, everyone. Laura Spolter, Chair, Community Board 8.
Good to see you. Community Board 9. Okay, Community Board 10. Community Board 11.
Morning,
and Community Board.
Morning, it's Jeremy, Manager, Community Board 11.
Okay, thank you. Community Board 12.
Good morning, Madam Deputy. This is Dr. Michael Burt, Chair, Community Board 12.
Good morning, George, Community Board 12.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Dr. Burke. And our council representative, beginning with Councilmember Ayala's office. Okay, Councilmember Dinowitz.
Good morning. This is Lorenzo Manzano from Councilmember Dinowitz's office.
Thank you. Good to have you here. And Councilmember Riley.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Madam Deputy. Simone Jones, Chief of Staff for Councilmember Riley.
Thank you. And Councilmember Jonai. Councilmember Cabrera. Councilmember Felix. Councilmember Gibson.
Good morning, everyone. This is Nareda Gomez with Councilmember Vanessa Gibson's office.
Awesome. Councilmember Salamanca.
Good morning, everyone. Shannon Knotts from Councilmember Salamanca's office.
Excellent. And last but not least, Councilmember Diaz Sr. Okay, so thank you all for being here. As I said before, it's wonderful to have everyone here. We're going to just jump right into our agenda. So today, pursuant to Chapter 4, Section 85, Chapter 69, Section 2706 of the New York City Charter, a joint meeting of the Bronx Borough Service Cabinet and Bronx Borough Board will take place right here virtually on WebEx today, Thursday, October 28th, 2021, beginning at or about 10 a.m. And we will begin our agenda with our first presentation. It is an overview of Link New York. Our presentation will be by Commissioner Jessica Tisch, and it is from Do It. And it's a great acronym. I don't know the actual words for it right now. Please maybe enlighten us.
It's
what Do It
the Department
means.
of Information Technology and Telecommunications. It's a
Oh,
mouthful.
wonderful. It is, but it goes right to the point. Just do it, as the commercial once said. So
All right. Thank you, Madam Deputy Borough President. I'm Stacy Gardner. I'm the Senior Director of External Affairs for Do It. I'm here on behalf of the Commissioner. I know a lot of you have heard from me recently. I've sent you 1,000 emails, and you're probably sick of me by now. But I will I'll get more straight to the point. This is less about the new design and more just about giving you guys an overview of what we plan to do in the Bronx. So if you just bear with me one moment, I'm going to share a short presentation and then we can have Q&A. So hold on just one moment, okay? All right, can folks see this presentation?
Yeah, it looks
Okay,
good.
perfect. Okay, so you guys, as you guys might know, Link NYC is our program to bring free Wi-Fi and calling, charging for your devices, and the tablet for 311 and 911 services. The program has been going on for about 5 or 6 years, and there is a presence in the Bronx, of course. But many of you know that it has not come everywhere yet. So I just wanted to give you guys kind of an update on what was going on with it. It has been a little complicated, but yeah, we can go right into it. So and you guys know that the borough presidents sit on the franchise and concession review committee. So recently, we brought another amendment to our Link NYC contract to the FCRC to basically reboot the program. For a couple of years, it had stalled, mostly because originally our franchisee City Bridge had overestimated how much revenue they'd be getting from advertising alone. So they couldn't pay us, they couldn't deploy more kiosks past mid 2018. So we had to do something to rectify it. And so we have a new amendment that was passed by the FCRC recently that kind of allowed us to reboot the program by redesigning the link to house 5G infrastructure, as well as all of the services you already know, the Wi-Fi and the calling and the 911 access and the advertising screens. So the last hurdle we have here is just getting it to the Public Design Commission. We've been working closely with them. We presented in October, and we plan to bring it to them again next month. So that's why I've been sending you guys 1,000 emails asking if you have any comments or questions or anything like that. But aside from that, because that process takes a long time, and we can't actually start fabricating new links until a design is approved, we started hitting the ground running, and we spoke with the borough president's office, and we went over with them what we were thinking as far as build in the Bronx. So one important point of the new amendment is that there had to be a minimum build in 3 equity districts, which is what we're calling them. We picked these in every borough based on a variety of factors, but we were looking at areas that were that might not have had links before, that were hit hard by the pandemic, where there's low broadband adoption rates. So there were a lot of factors that went into that. So that's why we're calling certain districts equity districts, and built into the contract are specifically like a minimum build. So those districts are Bronx 2, Bronx 5, and Bronx 7. You can see those in red on this table. And then everywhere else, we wanted to see build in every community district in the city. So as you could see in the blue purple-ish column there, proposed link build, we are going to see every district will get links eventually. But these are just the numbers we were playing with. This is what we showed to the borough president's office a couple months ago. And as of right now, nothing except the numbers in red, meaning we have a minimum build. None of that is set in stone precisely yet. Once we get past the Public Design Commission, we can really truly start planning. But until then, we just want to show you guys that since the program's being rebooted, we are going to bring links to areas that may not have seen them, or there might be only a few. So for District 2, I know this is small, hard to see. I'll send this around so you guys can take a closer look. We can only put these in manufacturing commercial zones with the advertising, obviously. So as I said, we wanted to hit the ground running, and what we ended up doing is we're installing some of the old links before we get the design approved. And we're starting with those 3 districts, 2, 5, and 7. I know that Tom has spoken with each of you guys in those districts about these locations. And I just wanted to also relay that they've actually started, they've put a couple in the ground already, 7 to be precise, in Bronx 2. So you might have seen these pop up recently, and we have proposed locations that are they're going to put those in very soon. As you guys know, there's a holiday embargo, so that complicates any sort of street construction between Thanksgiving and New Year's. But they did get a few in the ground, and those will be activated. I'll generously say Q1 of next year, but we are moving forward. And Bronx 5 and Bronx 7, and I know you guys have seen these already or heard talk to Tom about it, so I won't linger too much on this. But we do have those proposed, and this isn't the end. Basically, this is just what we're starting with. The franchisee is eager to move forward, whether we have the design or not. And then once we do have the design, and we can fabricate new links, we'll be coming back to all the districts with the new ones. So for now, that's that as far as those 3 districts. And then the rest of them, as I said, once we have that design approved, we can come back. And we're happy to get feedback from folks if there's any corridors or areas you think are best to look at. And then the design, I know I've sent you guys 1,000 emails about this, so I will I won't belabor this point too much. We do have 2 more information sessions in the evening. One is actually tonight and another is on December 1st. I sent you guys all the information on those. And if you need me to resend, I'm happy to do so or send to an alternate email. But this is the new design. It would have a multi-tenant structure for antennas and radios for the deployment of 5G infrastructure. And it would also strengthen the Wi-Fi signal. So these wouldn't have to be, clustered too tightly together. And, we're enhancing coverage for Wi-Fi and for cell phone service. And this is what we're doing with this new link. And just so you guys know, because I'm sure you've seen them around, with this new one, because the height is higher, these can only be one on a block per side of the block, so they would not be clustered, as you might see the old ones that are on the street right now. So just a quick status update. We presented on the 18th. We're going back on the 13th of December. I'm still gathering feedback. If you guys have any comments, if folks in your communities have comments, we are accepting those on a rolling basis, and they will all be sent to the Public Design Commission. I do need from the district managers, I need you guys to just send me a quick email saying that you received the presentation. That is a requirement of the PDC. They need to know that everyone got a chance to weigh in, to take a look. So that's one thing I will need. And as I said, the sites that I showed today, those are going to be the original design. Yeah, once we get past this Public Design Commission thing, we will be in the clear to really start putting more dots on a map to show you guys. So that's it. That's my contact information. The feedback emails, 5G design feedback at doit.nyc.gov. That's all. If folks have any questions, feel free to shoot.
Well, thank you for the presentation. And Chris, can you tell us if there are any hands up? If we have any, if you have any questions, please put your hand up electronically, and you can find that button in the on the participant tab. And if you're on the phone, it would be *9, correct? Yep. *9 to put your hand up. And Chris, do we have any hands?
Yeah, George Torres, saw you first. Go ahead, George.
Thank you. So I did get this. Thank you, Stacy. I even attended the one that we had some technical difficulties with doing.
Yeah.
So
that was
but I
all
did
my fault.
Yeah, it's cool. I think it was understandable. I just think my whole crux for my argument, or the basis for my argument, is just that I don't know if this is necessary anymore for communities, especially in light of the fact they are particularly ugly looking. But looks aside, the history with links is very complicated. I remember being at Borough Board when they rolled out the first version of this, and it was complicated back then. You have, according to what I've read so far, and I could be completely wrong, City Bridge is still doing this. So I don't know if that they've demonstrated a track record of actually doing the right thing. I mean, they ran into a hiccup because they underestimated the revenue, yet they're proposing, I guess, a new way to generate revenue by building a bigger, uglier thing. And the city's like, okay, we're still going to give you the contract to move forward. Again, not demonstrating the history that they know how to actually do this sort of thing. The other thing, and the one thing that I'll say that I'll sort of link this back to the community boards, you know, they're rolling this program out, and I've said before, I don't understand why it's necessary. It's not like, I know you keep referring to 911 and stuff like that, but you know, we used to have those call red boxes, those red boxes and pay phones all over the place. People have cell phones now. So that's why I'm saying that's one of the reasons why we don't need it. And those call boxes have also been sort of taken away by Do It. The other issue is the city keeps putting things in place. We were just audited by the controller's office. And one of the things that I found out was we're responsible for, and you and I have had this conversation before, that we're supposed to be able to allow for our community boards to have cable casting and broadcasting. Now, I know one has nothing to do with the other, but again, the city should be really focusing on strengthening those mandates and those requirements instead of rolling out something that we know to be ineffective. Again, unless there's a way to articulate why these are important, everything that we know about this contract from the 4 years ago, I mean, people were watching porn on this. Homeless people were using this to watch porn and do things that were inexplicable, and you had problems with it. So again, I don't understand why we're trying to do this other than that the city's trying to generate some sort of revenue, because all the 5G that we currently have is not necessarily done through the link system. It's done through private companies that lease their space to antenna companies that build this. So again, I don't know why this is, you know, a requirement. All the basis and all the things that you said, really, it doesn't make any sense to me other than that this is a revenue stream. And now it's a hideous looking revenue stream. So that's it. I mean, it's a weird thing. And I from the beginning, it's been a weird thing, and it's still a weird thing, and the city is not articulated necessarily why this needs to go forward. And those are my comments.
Okay, George, I appreciate all that. I'll just I'll try to tick through a few things. Totally hear you on City Bridge as a vendor. You know, the commissioner said, you know, to the borough presidents, to the FCRC, you know, before the pandemic, we were almost ready to throw them out as an operator. They did come back to the table with this strategic partner. So Zenfi, it's another company. They run fiber. They were a fiber provider for City Bridge as well. They came to the table and said, we will add money to we'll make an investment if we can make these 5G. And yes, it is another revenue stream. But we also do have the mobile telecommunications franchises for the pole tops, and Zenfi is an operator for those. So we felt confident that their proposal was sound, and that, you know, with an alternate revenue stream, the project can move forward more smoothly. But I do hear you on that. I know that the FCRC brought that up as well. So that was not glossed over at all. We're very much aware of that. So as far as whether it's necessary for the communities. I know I've worked with some of your offices on removing all the payphones, which as of right now, I don't think there's any payphones that are under our jurisdiction that are still in the Bronx. So I think we've removed almost all the payphones in the Bronx. Citywide, there's only 50 left or so. So those, I know I've heard it from a lot of community boards. Those were not, they were unsightly. They didn't often work. They had, level services for people to leave objects on, and, there were a lot of quality of life issues. Totally understand that. That's why we've been ripping them out. But, we have had 10 million users of the Link system since inception. We do have a ton of people using the phone call feature. In fact, the most dialed number in the whole system is the EBT hotline. As far as inappropriate content, the browser function was taken away in 2016. So there is no way for someone to view inappropriate content on the links anymore. The tablet is used for, to dial the phone. And there's, a tile for 3-on-1 services, for maps, for Aunt Bertha, which is an app that helps people connect to social services in that immediate area. So we are providing a service that is very much used, and we feel is very, very necessary, especially to replace payphones in areas where, yes, a lot of people have cell phones, but it's the calling is used a lot. And then to add to that, on cell phones, in order for 5G to be, rolled out successfully throughout the city, and not just in Central Business District Manhattan, 5G needs a lot more nodes throughout the city than 4G did. So if we're going to be able to allow the carriers to have spaces throughout the city, to be able to bring this service to everybody, regardless of zip code, this is a creative way we are facilitating that. So they have rooftops, they have pole tops now, because we got a 5G shroud, both single and multi-tenant, passed by the Public Design Commission last year. So 5G is going on the pole tops as well. And then this is an area that could fill in the gaps. They can't go on every pole top, and they can't go on every rooftop. So this is a way we're doing that. And so, one thing to bring home as well is that this is not a taxpayer funded project. This is a franchise. So this private company, City Bridge, is operating it. They are paying the city for the use of the streets. That's what a franchise is for. So at the end of the day, this does not cost taxpayer money. It is a franchise. So it actually makes us money. And yes, they hadn't paid us for a while, but they, upon the approval of the Third Amendment, they did pay us, and they are going to continue to do so. So I think I addressed most of your comments, George. Is there anything else I missed there? Oh, I think you're still on mute.
I was saying you're good.
Okay.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Can you unshare your screen?
Oh, for sure. Hold on just a sec. There we go.
I have a question. I'm sure there are other hands up, but George's question made me think of the issue of students who have not been able to use to log on, in some cases through because lack of Wi-Fi and such. It sounds like this is not a service that would help those communities, or am I not getting that point? If so, please.
Oh, no, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So this is an outdoor Wi-Fi network. So incidentally, the Wi-Fi is strong enough to be in folks' apartments if they are close to a link, but it is not, it's not the purpose of the program to bring Wi-Fi into homes. It is an outdoor network. You're correct on that. One thing I guess I can mention, and your office has been helpful with this as well, because it recently went to the FCRC. In fact, it was just last week. We have another franchise. It's called Information Services. That is allowing companies to build fiber in the streets. And we're bringing new operators for home broadband into the market through this franchise. So we do have Link NYC is just one effort of many that we're trying to, work on closing the digital divide. But the Information Services franchise will bring new operators to compete with your Altices and Verizons.
Okay, thank you. Chris, do we have any other hands up?
Yep, Ralph Acevedo. I saw your hand next. Go ahead, Ralph.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Madam Deputy. Thank you, Stacy. Stacy, this been for Board 2, and I was just looking at the chart you had also, right? This been like 4 years that we've been talking about bringing Link NYC to my district. And I knew back then it was something with the contractor, fiber optics. I knew the contract was time sensitive. But I still have zero in my district. You identified 31 locations and a possible of 20 locations. And I just want to, hop on George's colorful comments there. I mean, I'm at a point now where I don't know if this is gonna actually happen. We identified 4 years ago in my district two locations, and unfortunately they're still not up. So why should I remain optimistic now? I mean, back then it was a corridor of the South Bronx. I see there's other districts that still have zero, but I do see my colleagues that they're up and running, and I'm sitting here with none. I don't understand that. I'm not optimistic about this.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you. I know, as I mentioned before, we did have a lot of issues with the operator. They did stop deploying in 2018 because of their a variety of issues, some of which are financial. So they weren't deploying at all after 2018. And I hear you that it's frustrating that they didn't, we did present you with locations and they never came. So I definitely understand that sentiment. But the one thing that's going to be able to reboot the program is us getting this design approved, so that we can move forward with new installations. And I stopped sharing it, but in your Bronx too, right, Ralph?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so those we did just get few installed there. So those should be, and I'll send you this presentation so you can take a look. But that is moving forward, particularly in your district. If you wanted to have a separate conversation to look at additional locations, I'd be happy to do that as well. But it is moving forward, particularly in your district right now.
I noticed right outside my office, we have the old style. You know, this presentation you gave now, it's a whole new different style. So is that going to be replaced? Like the ones that are up now, the more rectangular, longer one, are they going to be replaced? Are they going to be replaced?
So eventually they could be, but for now, it's not as if they can retrofit current ones. That's not what we're able to do. So anything that's in the old style will probably, because it's a big investment to put those in. Those will very likely stay as they are once they're installed. And then that doesn't mean the 5G links won't come. It will be additional ones later once we have those approved and fabricated and all that. But the one difference is obviously that the new one will house 5G infrastructure, but the ones that are in the ground now are going to just have the free Wi-Fi, calling, etc.
I'm sorry, but it just doesn't jive with me. My community has waited a long time for this, and I just don't understand how come we can't get the newer model ones, I guess, with the 5G. Especially that they're not even running now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I'm going to remain optimistic, and I will support as much as I can. However, I just feel like we're getting short-ended here in my district, in particular that we've been waiting for a long time, and we was the corridor originally, like I said, about 4 or 5 years ago. This was one of the first things on my plate when I became a district manager, and I haven't seen no progress with it. And like I said, I'll remain optimistic. Thank you.
I hear you. I hear you. And as I said, we're hitting the ground running with old links now, but the new one hasn't been approved yet. And the operator was eager to go in the places where we said we were going to go a long time ago. So the ones we're putting in now, that doesn't mean we're not coming back. Let me see. We have 8 pending and 7 installed, but for your district, we need to get you at least 31. So once we get through this hurdle, and we're able to get those new links in the ground, we're coming back. So this is just to really restart the deployment before, because the Public Design Commission is not it's a slow process, and it's we understand it. It's a citywide program, and it does impact the streetscape and all of that. So we definitely want to work with them and make sure that we're doing the right thing there. But we also didn't want to just wait to get going on deployment. So that's why you're seeing the older links installed now, and then we're coming back once we have the new links approved and fabricated, etc.
I have a piggyback question again on Ralph's statement, which I'm not even sure it's a question, but it stands to reason that these older links will become obsolete quite soon with the rush toward 5G, which is not new, which is, in order to get everyone onto 5G, you lose the preceding Gs, 3, 4, and so forth. So isn't it reasonable that those old links, which can't be updated, will be obsolete within a very short time?
No, so I totally understand the question there. So there's two different types of connectivity we're talking about here. So the links, as you see them today, they provide Wi-Fi. So that's just the wireless internet that you connect to, either you have it in your office or at home or whatever. So that's one thing. And then 5G, 4G, etc., that's mobile data. So that's what your phone picks up when you're out and about. So links are going to provide Wi-Fi no matter what. Not everyone has a data plan, and some people have devices that can only connect to Wi-Fi, and they don't, they can't pick it up everywhere. So, or they want to save on their data plan. 5G, 4G, etc. The reason why the new link would have, has a lot of room in it is for several different types of connectivity. So you could do a 4G or a 5G in there for different types of carriers, so that like if you're a T-Mobile customer, you don't have like a dead zone where there's only like Verizon nodes. But no, I think Wi-Fi will continue to be something that people need, that they can pick up with their phone. But 5G, yeah, that it is going to be more ubiquitous, and this is helping that. But no, I don't think the links will be obsolete. They will continue to be a needed source of Wi-Fi no matter what.
Okay, do we have any other questions, Chris?
Yeah, I see two more at the moment. Ken Brown was the next I saw. So Ken, go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Madam Deputy. Thank you, Stacy. I have a few questions on Link and then one just to do it in general. I don't know if I should ask that now or afterwards. But regarding the Link, to segue from what Madam Deputy said, to what extent is there the ability for these new kiosks to be upgraded as new technology comes on? And to what extent are the current kiosks able to be upgraded? That's one question. The other question, and this goes back to what Ralph was asking about, will the old kiosks will remain in the ground in perpetuity? And there's no plans for them to be removed, and ultimately all the kiosks will be upgraded to this new design. We'll have a number of different designs eventually. Then if you could talk more in detail about the sustainability, the revenue stream, what's the model for the financing around this and how is it sustainable? And then, now that the poles are approaching 20 feet, in terms of design, how does that relate to placing the new infrastructure at elevated subways? One of our principal corridors is Jerome Avenue, and the number 4 train is elevated. So can the 5G poles be put in there? If not, what are the restrictions? And then I have an unrelated question of just to do it in general.
Sure. So I'll just take those one at a time, and I took some notes here, but feel free to let me know if I miss anything. So you wanted to know if the new kiosks and the old kiosks, if they're able to be upgraded. So as far as software goes, so I'm not a technical expert by any means. So if I need to, I can go back and get a little more of a technological perspective on, you know, what precisely they can upgrade and what they can't. But I know that because it's a digital network, obviously they're always upgrading, just like you upgrade, you know, your devices and your computer. Those are always being, you know, that back end technology will always be constantly upgraded. As far as, you know, physical hardware, if it would need to be upgraded, that, I mean, if we had to change the design in any way, we would probably have to go through a process. But there are some features that have been added to the links since inception, including video relay service, which is actually pretty cool. I've seen the demo of that, and it is used pretty frequently. So we do have some legroom to upgrade features as needed. But the extent that, I mean, I guess it's really hard to tell. You know, we can make these as future proof as we think we can, in the, you know, with the knowledge we have at the time that, you know, they're deployed. But the idea was, you know, that these could be upgraded digitally, you know, if new features needed to go in. I just I'm not 100% sure as far as what technical upgrades, and I can certainly bring that back to the team here. You had asked if like the old ones are gonna remain in the ground, and whether they'd all just like go through and upgrade them. So for now, the old kiosks will stay where they are. The focus of this program reboot is really to get links in the ground where there were not. So obviously you heard some frustration from your colleague about that. That is what we want to address first and foremost with this new program. And then, you know, the franchisee in their contract, they have the ability to replace old ones. And let's say, I mean, this happens very rarely, but you know, a truck backs into a link, and they need to just replace the whole thing. They would very likely try to replace it with one of the new links. But the issue is, and maybe this goes into your question about elevated trains too. The new links have different siting criteria. They can only be placed one on a block per block, and one side of the block, sorry. And then they have to be certain feet from other street furniture, so as not to make things too cluttered and allow, you know, a passageway for pedestrians, and we're not getting in the way of line of sight for cars. So there's a lot of criteria that it must hit in order to be cited. So one-to-one, they wouldn't be able to go around replacing every link that's in the ground just because of that. But I think the idea would be that as they may need to be replaced physically, that they would attempt to do that. And just to get back to one of your questions, the revenue stream. So I can get you more details on that specifically. I can't remember off the top of my head what what all the financial details are, but essentially they had entered a contract with us years ago that predicted a much higher demand for digital advertising than was reality. So they were supposed to give us a share of hundreds of millions of dollars that did not materialize. So for now, in the contract, we lowered the minimum annual guarantee of revenue share that they need to give us for advertising, and we added a revenue stream for 5G, and that revenue stream is essentially a rent payment that a company pays for the use of the city's right of way. So it's sort of like our mobile telecommunications franchise, where they're the same types of companies who have that kind of infrastructure are paying the city to use a pole. They would be paying the city to use the link instead. So that's the second revenue stream. And then so whether and then just to close out on the issue with elevated subways, I can't recall off the top of my head whether that's a citing criteria or not, that they must be a certain number of feet from the L, but I imagine that they must be. So I will double check into that corridor in your district that goes along an elevated train. I know there's a number of those in the Bronx. I'm not sure. I do believe that the current links are near elevated subways, because there's a few that get a lot of usage based on just people picking it up from being on the track. But let me double check on that. That's not something I had thought about before, so thank you for bringing that up.
And then I have a question for Do It unrelated to blank. You want me to reserve that or ask it now?
Go for it, Ken.
Yeah.
Ask away. Go for it.
I just want to make sure my quarter is still good. In the letter that was sent, I think about 2 weeks ago from the Committee on Open Government, talking that we have to post documents for our meetings on our website. During the pandemic, we've required Do It to do the postings, and it's my understanding that you cannot post documents to our website. So, the only thing we've been able to post are links to URLs. If that's the case, then how do we comply with the law?
Okay, are you guys on the nyc.gov template
Correct.
on Team site? Okay. Let's one off outside of this, so I can just I'll have to go to our web team and see exactly how they've been helping you guys and what we can do to rectify that. So I wasn't aware that their documents weren't able to be uploaded. I know that each community board has their own level of needing help from us. So I'm not sure how much we do for you, or if you guys are able to access the site yourself. So let's talk offline so I can help you with that.
Okay, thanks, Stacey.
Do we have any more questions, Chris?
Yeah, just one more hand raised. Laura Spalter. Laura, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I see Community Board 8, we have 27 new links coming. Have you determined the locations for them?
No, we have not yet. And part of that is because we don't have the design done yet. So though we have, an idea of, we looked at all the commercial corridors and places where we might be able to put them. Nothing is set in stone yet, partially because we just don't have the new design approved yet. And then once we do, we can go back and see where we might be able to place them. And of course, we will be gathering feedback on that once we're ready to start drawing up those plans.
Good, so you will be collaborating with the boards.
Yes, for sure. So the way that we had been citing these, and we still are, but it is a little more complicated with the different citing criteria that the new links present. But the original idea of this whole program was to replace the payphones. So all sites that were payphones is a potential link site. And as I said, there aren't any payphones anymore in the Bronx, as far as I know. But anywhere where there had been one is still game for us to take a look at. Those sites fall out sometimes just because of other street furniture, and we have to make sure there's nothing underneath that would compromise the structural integrity. There's just a lot of stuff to look at and a lot of surveys to do. So we start with those and we see if those are viable. And then we also look at new locations, and any new location that had not been a payphone, we are required to bring that to each community board for a 60-day comment period. So that's kind of how that works. So yes, we do come to the boards for input.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Chris, are there any other questions? Any hands raised?
I do not see any other hands at this time.
Okay, seeing no new hands, thank you so much for that presentation from Do It. Thank you. We look forward to hearing more in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Okay. So we only have one presentation today, but as I promised, it was substantive and we got a lot of information. So now we move to just our basic closing out portion where we ask for announcements. If there are any announcements that any board member would like to make, or any additional information that some of our agencies who are in attendance would like to share. At this time, you can raise your hand in the participant tab. You raise your hand virtually and *9 on the phone so that we can acknowledge you for any announcements, any information sharing that you'd like to do. As I ramble on for a few more seconds, anyone who wants to do that can do that. And Chris, do we have any hands up?
Yep. So Mike Sharp, I see your hand, and I know we spoke a little bit ahead of time. So go ahead, and if you want me to share either of those documents that you had sent over or the website, just let me know which one you'd like.
Sure. Likely it'll be the website because you can probably cover the most in the least amount of time. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see everyone, and it's been a while. My reason for stopping by today is that there has been a lien sale scheduled for December 17th, And also just to explain a little bit of what that is and how it might impact some of the folks that are here in the Bronx. It's nice to say this though, that usually when we have areas that might be a challenge for New Yorkers or residents, and the Bronx sometimes has a high number of people that are involved. In this particular instance with the lien sale, outside of Staten Island, you have the fewest number of residents that are eligible for the lien sale. I'm going to explain first a little bit what a lien is, what the lien sale is, but my main purpose for being here is to help you to know how to help people get out of lien sale eligibility. If they happen to stop by the community board, or they come into your office as an elected official, just want you to be able to help them quickly to take a few steps. And it actually, for 5 of the steps, you don't actually have to have an exchange of funds at this time, and you can come off of the lien sale. Now, first of all, what is a lien? Well, this is a claim against real property for unpaid taxes or water debt or some other bill, including the interest and on those debts. And so a lien sale is basically that it's when the lien is transferred to an authorized buyer. And now this buyer is the person that or the entity that will see to it that these funds are collected from a property owner. The lien sale does not involve selling your property. It's just the indebtedness, tax indebtedness, or other repair charges, or what it might be, that's involved with your property. This year, water debt is not involved, so that lowered the number of people on the lien sale. And here's the criteria. For most properties, we're talking about having a debt of $5,000 that's 3 years old. So what I want to share with you, this is the Department of Finance website. If someone comes into the community board, they write, they call, I have a notice of I'm on lien eligibility. What can I do? Chris, if you see that second from the left tab that says lien sale, you to click in that. In this page, this one page holds all of the resources that one might need in order to actually have their property removed from the lien sale. Now, it's mentioned it's scheduled for December the 17th, and there are a number of ways to be removed from it. First of all, making a payment is a way to be removed from it, of course, and there are a number of ways to do that. You can do it online, and there's a number here that you can call to find out what the amount is that you would have to pay to remove you from the lien. It doesn't always involve paying the entire amount that you owe. But there are some other things that are unique to this year. First of all, if the property was damaged due to Hurricane Ida, there's a form that you can fill out and submit along with proof that you've been challenged in that way, and that can remove you from the lien. If you've been impacted by COVID, the hardship declaration is in place, where and this requires no additional documentation. You simply have the certain criteria that you can check out with affected by one of these different circumstances due to COVID. You submit that, and that declaration will remove you from the lien. So we want to make sure that you're aware of that. Then there are payment plans that are available. There are property tax exemptions, the senior exemption, the veterans exemption. They remove you from lien eligibility. So all of these things are things that can get you out of that situation, and you don't have to have additional funds. That one page has additional resources there for you as well. But we just wanted you to be informed as a community board and as various elected officials' offices, the resources that are available to help people come off of the lien sale. In the months to come, we'll have other information regarding notice of property value. That season is coming soon. You could look at your property values and your assessed values and challenge them if you think they need to change. And also, there will be information regarding renewing your exemptions here if you want outreach events in your district or community. There's a way to reach out for us for that. So that's what we wanted to talk about today. Thank you for giving me a few minutes. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thanks, Chris.
As always, thank you, Mr. Sharp. Thank you for all that information. Are there any other announcements or questions for Mr. Sharp?
So I don't see any other hands at this time. Yokarina, I know.
Hi.
All right.
Hello.
Glad you're still
Hi.
here.
Thank you. Hi, this is Jokarina from New York City Emergency Management. Just have a few announcements. As we're starting to get cold weather, we know cold weather and extreme colds actually bring different hazards, bring different issues like cold, heavy snow, ice, and other things that can pose as a hazard to the city. So we always encourage New Yorker that this is the perfect time to start planning for these hazards and how that might affect you. And if you have a plan, this is the perfect time to update your plan. In addition to that, we have this community risk assessment dashboard. Communities are affected by different hazards in different ways, and we understand that. So we have this dashboard that actually tells you about different hazards that can affect your community. It's broken down by community boards. So it's very important that you take a look at it because you can actually look at it by seasons and different things, such as now during the winter, complaints for heat and hot water. I posted the link on the chat so you can have it. In addition to that, we have two podcasts. One is called Prep Talk, which is the English podcast, and it's talking about exercising your plan. And the other one is in Spanish. It's called Prepárate, and it's talking about fire prevention and safety tips now during the holidays. Again, this is emergency management information. All of this information is in the chat, so you can copy the link and share with your constituent. And last but not least, we would like to thank everyone that attended our calls last week for community boards and elected officials that we started talking about winter weather. So thank you for attending. And that's it.
Thank you. So any other hands, questions, comments? Okay, wonderful. So looks like we are going to wrap up our meeting. I want to thank everybody. Looks like something came up in the chat about tree lighting. Did you see that, Chris?
Yeah, so Carla from CB7 said we will have our annual tree lighting on December 7th at 6 p.m. There will be performances by our local schools. For more info, email ibravo, that's IBRAVO, at cb.nyc.gov.
Okay. Performances, no one invited me to perform, but that, my feelings won't be hurt. And so there will be, I'm sure a lot of tree lightings and other holiday events coming up between now and our next meeting. But I want to ask everyone to look out for those items. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to all of the community board and everyone and all our members. Obviously, that's a big family-friendly holiday that's coming up. So be festive, but in this time of COVID, also we encourage everyone to be safe. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And we want to thank you again for your time and thank you for your service to your respective community boards and your service to the Bronx. Thank you so much and have great and wonderful days. And again, happy Thanksgiving. Bye.